Ms. Zorica Urosevic, Executive Director, UN Tourism. Your Excellencies, Ministers of Tourism, representatives of the tourism industry, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 8th TEJ Ministerial Roundtable. My name is Marjorie Dewey, and I'm honored to be returning again as your moderator for the program today. The theme of our roundtable is driving regional transformation, destination diversification, and human resource development. Those are the topics you're going to be hearing about today. But what do we mean when we say transformation? In our travel and tourism sector, it describes the process of ensuring solid and substantial growth while recognizing future challenges. Regional transformation encompasses all aspects of tourism development, including changes in the environment, economy, investment, human resources, digital innovation, regional networks, and sociocultural factors. To achieve regional sustainability, regions must establish a suitable balance among these challenging issues. Our panel today will provide guidance on achieving that balance while keeping mindful of fulfilling the ambitious set of 17 Sustainable Development Goals set out in 2015 in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. They'll address three key topics: destination diversification, human resource development, and innovation through digital transformation. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce you to our most distinguished panel, and it includes ministers and directors from 7 countries, as well as senior executives from 6 international organizations. You'll find some familiar faces in our panel today, as well as some new faces, and it's great to welcome all back to the panel. So distinguished panelists, as I call your name, please take your seat on the stage. And we will begin with Senator the Honorable Nita Green, Assistant Minister of Tourism for Australia. Next, His Excellency, Mr. HUOT Haq, Minister of Tourism, Kingdom of Cambodia. Mr. Akira Yoshii, Parliamentary Vice Minister of Land, Infrastructure and Transport and Tourism, Japan. Her Excellency, Ms. Gloria María de León Zubieta, Administrator General of the Tourism Authority, Republic of Panama, and also the Presidency of SICA, the Central American Tourism Council. Ms. Dubravka Kalin, Director General of the Tourism Directorate, Republic of Slovenia. Her Excellency, Ms. Ana Claudia Caram, Vice Minister of the Ministry of Tourism, Oriental Republic of Uruguay. And the last of our countries, His Excellency, Mr. Azif Abdulkakimov, Minister of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change, Republic of Uzbekistan. And now moving on to our international organizations with Ms. Zorica Urosevic, Executive Director, UN Tourism, and also, Mr. Tadashi Kaneko, Director, UN Tourism Regional Support Office for Asia and the Pacific. Ms. Sarah Wan, Regional Director, Asia, World Travel and Tourism Council. Mr. Peter Simone, Chair of the Pacific Asia Travel Association. Mr. Miguel Gallego, Head of Marketing and Communications, the European Travel Commission. And a new face for us, Mr. Gustavo Tima, President of the Adventure Travel Trade Association. And finally, Dr. Aladdin D. Relo, Managing Director for Policy Design and Operations, Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia. Thank you to all our panelists, and looking forward to a great day with all of you today. All right, let us begin. I'd like to invite Ms. Urošević from the UN to deliver a welcome message to our distinguished roundtable. It's all yours.
Marjorie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that you have to take the microphone?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the only one who has the pin. Thank you. Yes, please all take your microphones when you speak.
Adaptable.
There you go.
Like any one of us here. Honorable ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very happy to see you again, some of you, and very happy to meet the ones I have never met. So same for colleagues. Good to see you all. I think that Marjorie and the Ministry of Land, Transport and Tourism of Japan have put together, I think, quite an interesting and very rich and vibrant panel, and I'm really looking forward for the discussion. I thank you very much for the honor for the World Tourism Organization to open that discussion. I think that many of you know the work we do, maybe some of you less, but I think that I really greet the co-creation exercise we are going to go through all together. So I would like to first thank JATA for its long-standing partnership in organizing this important ministerial roundtable, and to thank our host here in Nagoya, a city that embodies both tradition and innovation. We gather at a pivotal moment for tourism, and as I already underlined this morning, we are meeting at a very pivotal moment for tourism. We lost 70% of our tourism arrivals in 4 years of the COVID, and we recovered last year because we're very resilient. But we need just to be very cautious, and we need to be always prepared for anything that comes. Because after this severe crisis, we have recovered, but we need to be resilient, and we have to be able to transform and agile. Still, as I said, the world is facing crisis, including geopolitical uncertainty, which can impact tourism flows and tourism desire to travel. In 2024, the world welcomed 1.5 billion international tourists, surpassing pre-pandemic levels, so more than in 2019. And just in this context, if we consider that if we have 1.5 billion people crossing borders, meeting new people, meeting new cultures, meeting each other, that this is really, for me, a true vehicle for an intercultural dialogue and a message of peace. So additionally to that, we have observed that for the same period, we accounted $2 trillion USD in receipts, an important increase of 14% compared to 2019. So the growth has been accompanied of, I can say, a much bigger growth in receipts. In the first half of 25, nearly 690 million travelers crossed borders, 5% more than in the same period last year, and already 4% above for 2019 level, just in 6 months. Asia and Pacific, through the last region not to fully reopen, is now driving the global momentum. Northeast Asia grew by 20% in arrivals in the first half of this year, while Japan recorded plus 21% growth. Japan also saw tourism receipts surge by plus 18% through June 2025, placing it among the world's strongest performers. This tells us that global tourism is moving beyond recovery into a phase of transformation and sustainable growth. This year's theme, Driving Regional Transformation, highlights the urgency of diversifying destinations. Diversification is not only about creating new places to visit, but about building authentic, inclusive, and resilient tourism models that safeguard cultural values, generate stable employment, and enhance the attractiveness of regions. Transformation must also mean investing in people, equipping women and youth with the skills to lead change, and embracing digital innovation as a catalyst for inclusiveness, sustainability, and smarter resource management. All these themes were at the heart of the South Africa G20 presidency this year, of which Japan is a key member. I am just back from the G20 ministers meeting, and as you know, UN Tourism is the knowledge partner of the G20 tourism track. And all the themes that we are going to address today actually are at the forefront of the priority of the G20, with one that is as well extremely pertinent and interesting is unlocking financing for development. Because the G20 economies are the most powerful economies which are providing development aid. Development aid is shrinking, but when a country supports the development of infrastructure, of public goods in a developing country, it creates the right environment for investors of its own country to invest. And we have seen that the biggest donors of ODA are as well the biggest investors in tourism. But this is a separate message.
Yes.
But I just felt important to underline it. So we in the UN Tourism, most of you are very familiar, we have an initiative called Best Tourism Villages that is tourism for rural development. Besides the economic diversification of the initiative, it is as well the most appreciated initiative by our member states. It is an initiative that really supports livelihood at the community level, but as well brings pride in promoting the local culture, the local gastronomy, the local fashion, the local storytelling, which all makes, for me, the essence of this diversification discourse. And I think that because of the period of COVID, which we all went through, we all went close where we live, and we all discovered new places, not so far from where we are, not taking a plane, just taking a stroll in car. And the authenticity has become one of the key unique selling propositions, I can say, to be promoted in any destination attractiveness. So I think this is really worth underlining. And as well, of course, you all know the initiative that we have on supporting countries for investment, tourism, doing business, which broaden the benefits of tourism. So as we exchange today, let us shape together a vision of regional transformation that delivers not only growth, but as well resilience, sustainability, and human connection. I think, yes, we need to be aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you, Marjorie, for underlying that.
Of course.
And I am sure that we are going, all of us, to learn from each other, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that really excellent kickoff from UN Tourism, and we also appreciate your support for this panel over the years. We wouldn't be doing this without your support, so we greatly appreciate that. Now we'd like to turn to the WTTC. We have a short video presentation from Julia Simpson, the CEO, who was not able to join us today, but we do have a video message from her, and that will be followed by remarks from Sarah Wang. So we'll start the video, and then Sarah, you can go ahead and speak right after that. Thank you.
Ministers, delegates, good afternoon. Konnichiwa. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm so sorry I can't be with you in person, but I'd love you to know that Sarah Wang is there to participate and represent WTTC in this important conversation. I'd like to begin by recognizing Takahashi-san's leadership in driving the development of travel and tourism in Japan. In addition to his roles as the chairperson of JTB and the chair of JATA, he serves as WTTC's vice chair, further emphasizing his commitment to tourism globally. Thank you, Mr. Takahashi. This year marks the 8th TEJ Ministerial Roundtable. In that time, global tourism has achieved something quite remarkable. We have recovered from a once-in-a-lifetime shutdown of the global economy, and we are now undergoing an extraordinary period of growth. Over the next decade and until 2035, travel and tourism is set to grow on average 3.5% every year, outpacing the rest of the global economy. We expect to see employment supported by tourism going up also. Visitor spending will also increase, and all while the carbon intensity of our sector, that's the amount of CO2 we emit for every dollar we create, is slowly but steadily going down. We know that more needs to be done, and I see this sector working towards an even more sustainable future. This is important if we are to ensure solid growth while protecting our natural resources and respecting the authenticity and the traditional values each community we engage with. In Japan, tourism will be around 8% of the Japanese GDP by the end of this year. It will be supporting over 6 million jobs. That's GDP growth of more than 14% since 2019. Many congratulations to all of you in this room. I know how well the sector works together in Japan, and this success is proof that your continued collaboration is really paying dividends. We also know governments have a direct influence on success or sometimes failure of the travel and tourism sector, and there are many levers at your disposal. Visa policies, approving new infrastructure like air and cruise ports, investing in your communities, destinations and nature conservation. Even something as simple as having a dedicated tourism minister can have such a huge impact on private sector confidence, investment and what policies are enacted to support this sector. It is why dialogues like today bring me so much optimism. If we hope to meet the UN Sustainable Development Goals, travel and tourism's growth must be both sustainable and inclusive. And regional transformation will not be possible without strong collaboration and partnership between the public and private sectors. I believe there's a Japanese proverb, which loosely translated into English, when 3 people meet, wisdom is exchanged. Well, if that's true, just think of how much wisdom there's in this room with all of you right now. Where the public and private sectors can come together to focus on destination diversification and regional transformation to help direct the right investments for the future and ensure the benefits of travel and tourism are felt by everyone. So on behalf of WTTC, I affirm our support for sustainable and inclusive tourism growth in Japan, and I extend our heartfelt thanks to all the region and in particular the WTTC members, namely JTB, Japan Airlines, East Japan Railways, Seibu Holdings, JCB and the Japan Airport Terminal. I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the ministerial organisers, Tourism Expo Japan, UN Tourism and Japan Association of Travel Agents for bringing us all together at this incredible event. Have a wonderful ministerial and a fabulous expo. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ministers, distinguished delegates, good afternoon. It's really an honor to be here in person representing WTTC. You have just heard from my President and CEO, Julia Simpson, who shared WTTC's vision for a sustainable and inclusive future for travel and tourism. I would like to echo her words and express our sincere appreciation to our host, JATA, and UN Tourism for convening this important session. As Julia mentioned, Japan's remarkable recovery and growth truly demonstrate the power of collaboration. The fact that travel and tourism here already contribute nearly 8% of Japan's GDP. It's a testament to the strong partnership between government and the industry. But what excites me most is the future we can shape together. by investing in sustainability, embracing digital innovation, and fostering regional diversification, we can ensure our sector continue to be a force for good. I very much look forward to the roundtable discussion, hearing valuable perspective of all speakers and also joining you in this important exchange of ideas. Thank you, and I wish you a wonderful session and also the successful Tourism Expo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Very good. All right, let me give you a little bit of a framework of how our roundtable is going to proceed today. We're divided into two sessions. In the first session, our panelists will address the topic of destination diversification. They'll share examples of how they are growing sustainably beyond traditional destinations, how they are developing authentic socio-cultural experiences, and ways in which they are fostering inclusivity to spread the benefits of tourism to local communities, women, and youth, all topics that were brought up in the remarks that we've just had. Each panelist will have 3 minutes to deliver their remarks. And in order to keep us all on time, we do have a wonderful timekeeper here in the middle of the room, and he will give you a 1-minute heads up when you're getting close to the end of your remarks. And then we will ask you to finish up at the 3-minute mark. At that point, after all the panelists have had a chance to speak, we'll go a bit deeper with a few questions from me based on where we are on time. And then we'll move to our second session. The panelists will be invited once again to share their country's goals and specific policies for the management of sustainable regional tourism transformation in the areas of human resource development and innovation and digital transformation. So if time permits, we'll ask some questions again, and then we will be closing the day. So I know all of you here in the room and those of you who are watching us from your video screen around the world, we welcome you, and we know that you will learn a great deal today. We'll leave the room today with a much deeper understanding of what this transformation for regions actually means. So without further ado, let's get started with the first session. And we'll start, we'll move around the world since we truly do have a global panel from representing a number of areas of the world. We're going to start with Asia in the Kingdom of Cambodia, and I'll invite His Excellency to make his remarks.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ministry of Tourism of the Kingdom of Cambodia and myself, it is my great honor and pleasure to attend this important dialogue on driving regional transformation, destination, diversification, and human resource development. I would like to extend my appreciation to the organizer for convening this distinguished platform for dialogue and for placing tourism at the center of our region development agenda. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for Cambodia, destination diversification is not merely a policy initiative. It is a strategic imperative since Cambodia is a land of profound history, majestic heritage, and breathtaking natural beauty, as well as a well-positioned demographically countries that make us free from devastating natural disasters, from the iconic Angkor Wat and Previher Temple complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, to dynamic and vibrant capital city of Phnom Penh, and the scenery, beach, and riversides. This scenery allows Cambodia to offer a unique blend of ancient culture and nature, heartfelt hospitality, savory cuisine, comfortable accommodation, and delightful entertainment. With this regard, our shared vision is to transform Cambodia into a multifaceted tourism destination that offers a balanced portfolio of experiences, from the majestic Angkor complex to our emerging coastal destinations, from ecotourism in the cardamom mountain of living cultural traditions in our provinces. This strategy seeks to disperse visitor flows, safeguard our world heritage treasures, and ensure that the economic benefit of tourism are equitably shared among local communities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is to highlight that destination diversification cannot be achieved in isolation. Tourism flows are inherent, regional, and our success indeed depends on collective effort. We need to strengthen cooperation within our region. So first, joint marketing campaign, promoting multi-country itineraries that encourage longer stays and higher visitor spending. Second, skill development, sharing best practices and coordinating on human resource development to ensure a skilled workforce. Third, data and knowledge exchange, building regional observatory for tourism statistics to guide evidence-based policy decision. The Kingdom of Cambodia is deeply committed to regional collaboration, working with our ASEAN and sub-regional partners to promote multi-country itinerary, harmonize tourism standards, and share knowledge on workforce development and digital transformation. Last but not least, I would like to call for the world to solidarize and harmonize peace and stability for the happiness of all citizens and the base of global tourism development. Tourism grows in peace, as said our Prime Minister. Finally, may I wish Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with good health, longevity, prosperity, and successful. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I believe that regional tourism, that collaboration that you're referring to, will be a topic that we hear throughout the course of the day. So thank you for bringing that up. We'll turn now to our another Asian representative on our panel, Minister from Uzbekistan, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Dear Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of Tourism Expo Japan and UN Tourism for inviting us to this important discussion. For Uzbekistan, as a country on the Great Silk Road, the theme of destination diversification has a key importance. Today, Uzbekistan welcomes more than 10 million foreign tourists every year. This number continues to grow thanks to liberal visa reforms, better infrastructure, transport access, and new tourist routes. We want to ensure that visitors discover not only our famous cities, but also new regions with their unique attractions. Our main, as you know, destinations are Samarkand, Bukhara, Khiva, and many other historical sites. These cities are UNESCO World Heritage Sites and jewels of world civilization. At the same time, we are developing many new destinations. For example, the Fergana Valley, a center of crafts and rural tourism, as well as many our mountains areas which offer opportunities for ecotourism and active travel. In the West, we promote Khwarezm and Karakalpakstan with their rich cultural and ecological heritage. In the South, in Surkhandarya, we have a lot of archaeological sites of the Buddhist civilization and unique natural reserves. We firmly believe that tourism must respect authenticity and local traditions. This is why our programs support crafts, safeguard intangible heritage, and involve local communities in development. We are also creating tourist villages around our major cities for longer and sustainable travel. Here, visitors can stay with locals, experience daily life, and enjoy authentic encounters. This matches current travel trends, as people now prefer authenticity and atmosphere. We also place a strong focus on green tourism. We are introducing eco standards for hotels, buildings with the solar panels as tourist sites, and supporting restoration projects in historical districts, such as Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva. Our national campaign, Sustainable, promotes ecological initiatives and strengthens the image of Uzbekistan as a green destination. Tourism today brings Uzbekistan more than $3 billion in export revenues and provides hundreds of thousands of jobs. But for long-term success, we need product diversification from cultural and historical tourism to eco, gastronomic, agro-tourism, and many others. In this regard, Uzbekistan is implementing the Uzbekistan 2030 strategy to ensure balanced tourism development. We believe that diversification of destination is not only about expanding routes. It's also a way to achieve sustainable economic growth, social fairness, and intercultural understanding. Uzbekistan is ready to share its experience and work with the partners for sustainable and diverse future of tourism. Thank you. Katta rahmat.
Thank you very much, Minister. I like your term, the sustainable. Yes, that's one we can all remember. I like that very much. Next, let's look at Asia a little more broadly. Peter, I'm going to call on you to tell us a little bit about PATA's perspective.
Thank you, Marjorie. On behalf of the Pacific Asia Travel Association, I'm delighted to be here, and thank you to JATA and thank you to UN Tourism. I think the comment that I want to make is that tourism diversification, tourism development, and overall tourism, the tourism ecosystem very much relies on understanding both supply and demand elements of tourism. And this is an area where we work with a lot of our emerging destinations to really get them to first look at the supply side and actually understand what is it that are your unique selling propositions. And one of the best ways to do that is through tourism asset mapping, to really go across your region or your country or whatever it is, and to really understand what are your cultural assets, what are your natural assets. Where we find difficulty often is that a lot of countries, a lot of our member countries, they sort of assume that all outsiders are the same. And I think it's very important to understand the nuances of different source markets. And then to be able to match your product with the appropriate source market. This is something that we really try to guide our destinations on, to be able to look and to be able to understand those nuances. I think the other thing that I wanted to mention is that at PATA, we're working on a new concept called meaningful tourism. Our belief is that the cause of over-tourism and the cause of this sustainability challenge that we're facing is that we're all chasing numbers. We're all competing against each other to be able to show off at the end of the year how many visitor arrivals we have. And my question to everybody around the room and around the table would be to say, does it really matter how many visitors you get? Or rather, is it more important to understand what the impact is of tourism on your tourism ecosystem, on your economy? So PATA is looking at developing a new index. We believe that we have the best piece of real estate on the planet, the Asia-Pacific region, both in terms of it being a living museum, having great cultural assets, having great natural assets. But we also understand the vulnerability of our region and the fact that we could really lose so much through the activities of tourism. So how do we measure tourism success at a much deeper level and across much broader set of criteria? I always, when I meet with ministers, when I talk to them, they always say, yeah, we're under a lot of pressure to deliver numbers. We have to change the KPIs. We need to speak to heads of state in this region and say to them, let's think differently about how we measure tourism success so that that becomes the KPI that the ministers and that everybody else really try to fulfill. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Yes. the subject of meaningful tourism. I think our previous speakers already addressed that in different ways of what they're doing, but I think as an overall concept of today, that's going to be an important message. So thank you for that. Now going to turn to Dr. Rilo and hear your perspective from ASEAN.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marjorie. Let me talk about this particular issue from the perspective of ASEAN. I think if you look at ASEAN right now, the tourism in the region is actually recovering very well. But I think this recovery is not only a matter of returning to the pre-pandemic level, the way I see it. Rather, I think it represents a structural transformation in terms of consumer expectations, in terms of motivations for travel, as well as market dynamics. We have a recent publication or study from my institute that suggests that there are indeed differentiated structural shifts that underpin the current tourism landscape in ASEAN. For example, safety and hygiene are now actually important requirements for ASEAN tourists. Also, sustainability is no longer an option, but rather it is an essential component of the value of tourism among the tourists in ASEAN. Digitalization, also the way we see it, presents what we call an opportunity towards sustainability. And at the same time, based on our research, we're seeing digitalized or personalized approaches toward looking at this issue of sustainability in ASEAN. I think what is also more important to highlight here is that aside from these evolving consumer expectations, we're also seeing here the importance of market segmentation. If you look at ASEAN, while intra-ASEAN travel continues to be an important lifeline for destinations across the region, we're also seeing here what we call as niche segments, like, for example, travelers are conscious about culture, and we're also seeing here what we call as the digital nomads, right? And I think these segments really present a high potential in terms of how the region is going to move forward to make sure that this tourism sector becomes very important. I think when I look at this evolving expectations of consumer as well as market segmentation, I think there's two important implications here. One implication here is that ASEAN destinations, in our view, should also be trying to look at how consumers are able to position themselves and realize the value of their travel. Secondly, in terms of marketing strategies, ASEAN destinations now should also take into account, how the messaging should be made possible. For example, the storytelling should not only about the traditional messages of how tourism should proceed, but I think it should talk more about value, right? And how value proposition can really be an important factor for tourists to move forward. Moving forward, again, I think there are three important factors, the way I see it, when we talk about destination diversification. One factor is the importance of consumers. We have to make sure that value proposition is very high. Secondly, I think we also have to look at governance structures. We have to make sure that policy frameworks are aligned with these expectations by the tourists. And finally, I think it is also important to take into account the role of knowledge, of information sharing, because I think that would really help build the vibrancy of the tourism sector. So in short, I think when we talk about the diversification of destination, I think what is important here is to be able to provide value, right? And that value, in my view, should be also determined by issues related to sustainability, to safety, and the ability of the tourism sector to create that meaningful experience for the tourists as a whole. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. Very good points, and should be a good roadmap for regions that are looking to begin that diversification process. Thank you. Now we're going to move to Europe, and I'd like to invite Ms. Dubravka, Kalin from Slovenia. Please share your thoughts.
Thank you very much for the invitation to this global panel, and I'm really happy that we are tackling the agenda, which is of big importance for Slovenia too. Since I'm coming from the only country in the world with love in its name, I have to admit that geostrategic
Like that.
Thank you very much. Geostrategic challenges and unstable reality is not so lovely, and tourism is constantly under attack. So that's why we need to diversify and to find the way to have resistant tourism, which would be balanced and, of course, would have benefits for local communities. Because we understand our country as our living room, where we live. All guests are welcome, but of course, we have our own rules. In Slovenia, we have around 6.6 million tourists every year, which means that numbers are tripled since we are not even 2 million. So we have to be very careful how we are managing our tourism. And this is the main reason that we shifted from chasing records and numbers to higher added value. And we shifted from marketing and promoting to managing. That's why we are now making a powering of the destination management organizations. And on the other hand, we are setting the whole new structure. But we also invest a lot in the tourism infrastructure and also new products on the field of wellness, regeneration, and also longevity programs, which are also, as I hear, very trendy. So that's why developing new products and also developing new infrastructure are most important if we want to spread the tourism flows around the country and not make hotspots or even over-tourism, which would be for such a small destination as it is Slovenia, very tricky, and it would be very hard to manage it. On the other hand, of course, I will proceed later about that we also started with big steps on the field of digitalization and in metrics, so we can really follow all the impact that tourism is making in our little country under the Alps. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for making that connection between both new products and the infrastructure that's needed to support them. I think that's a key issue that we're all facing now. Thank you very much. I'd like to now turn to the ETC, who is a regular panelist for us. We're glad to have you back. And Miguel Gallego, please share your thoughts.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. It's a great honor for me. Europe is the second smallest continent, but it's the most visited region in the world. Each year, we welcome more than 700 million international arrivals. That is 50% of global tourism. But this success is not balanced. 1 in 3 trips in Europe takes place only in July and August, and in some destinations, the ratio of tourists to locals can be as high as 1,600 to 1. This unbalanced distribution puts great pressure on ecosystems, infrastructure, and local communities. At the European Travel Commission, sustainability has been at the heart of our work for more than a decade. We believe that tourism must grow hand in hand with the well-being of local people and the preservation of Europe's cultural and natural heritage. If tourism remains unmanaged, growth risks ending the very assets that make Europe so attractive. But the solution is not to discourage travel. It's to make travel better and smarter, managing visitor flows so that we can reduce congestions in overcrowded areas while showcasing lesser-known destinations that are eager to welcome more visitors. Some parts of Europe are saturated, we all know it, while others remain hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. The mission of the ETC is to support our members and partners in promoting Europe as a single, unified destination. Strengthening Europe's brand as the most sustainable and responsible travel destination is therefore essential. It helps attract the right travelers, those who appreciate, respect, and contribute positively to the communities they visit. And this goes beyond promotion. It is also about educating demand, shaping perceptions and expectations, so that travelers embrace Europe's long-term vision for sustainable tourism. And that is exactly the goal of our new global communication campaign called Unlock an Unexpected Upgrade, which we are presenting here at Tourism Expo Japan at the Europe booth. This is not just another destination campaign, it is a movement that ETC is proud to lead, together with the European Union and a broad collection of destinations and partners. This initiative encourages all travelers that are planning to visit Europe to travel during the off-season, to go beyond the popular sites, to choose mobility options with low CO2 emissions, and to support local businesses. We did our research before we launched this initiative. We analyzed a lot of past similar campaigns, and we noticed that all tend to focus on the negative aspects of tourism. But with this initiative, ETC challenges this narrative, and instead, we choose to focus on the positive aspects, presenting responsible travel not as a burden to enjoyment, but as a benefit. In conclusion, tourism in Europe must evolve to remain sustainable, balanced, and beneficial for both travelers and local communities. Diversification across seasons, destinations, and travel choices is not just a necessity, but an opportunity to create a richer and more meaningful experiences. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Miguel, and I hope everyone will come by the Europe booth and learn more about your new campaign. Thank you. All right, we're going to go down under now, and we'll go to Senator Green from Australia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me as part of the panel today. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and sea country in Australia that we invite you all to visit. They have taken care of that country for tens of thousands of years, and we're very lucky to share the gift of their culture with visitors from around the world. Australia's visitor economy plays a critical role in driving our economy, well-being, and sense of national identity. It generates jobs, trade, investment, and creates opportunities in cities and regions like the one I live in Cairns, far north Queensland. Australia's tourism policy is guided by Thrive 2030, a national strategy for the long-term sustainable growth of the visitor economy. It has a target of growing the visitor economy expenditure by $230 billion by 2030, with 40% of this spend in Australia's regional areas. Now, I want to talk about sustainable tourism and regional diversification today in two different ways. Firstly, to explain a little bit about the way sustainable tourism is looked at by our government and in the tourism industry itself. Australia recognises that we need a balanced approach to growth, and it's required that we weigh up the economic, social and environmental issues to sustain a positive visitor experience and remain internationally competitive. As part of the strategy, Thrive 2030, the Australian government, in partnership with Australian states and territories, released the National Sustainability Framework for the Visitor Economy. The framework provided a nationally agreed understanding of the sustainable tourism based on four really important pillars: sustainable management, environmental climate action, respecting local cultures, and creating positive social impact. And you asked for examples, and I can give you one. Yes. In my hometown of Cairns, where the Great Barrier Reef is, we're working hand in hand with tourism operators who are delivering reef protection initiatives. Mm-hmm. This is just one of the ways that we're reaching one of the key drivers of the Japanese market and others by providing sustainable tourism. Now, in terms of regional tourism or the regionalisation of tourism, we see this in two ways in Australia. Dispersing our visitors out to regional parts of Australia, and 51% of jobs in tourism are actually in regional areas. But I want to talk about this from a more regional point of view, and I want to recognise the work that UN Tourism does to support small island states, or as they prefer to be known in the Pacific, big ocean states. Tourism is an important enabler in the Pacific to grow economies sustainably, to deliver gender equality goals, and to protect nature. But we know that tourism sites and in the Pacific and in Australia are under threat from climate change. And that's why our government has announced ambitious and achievable targets. Ultimately, sustainable tourism is important not just to keep those sites protected, but for the ultimate growth of our industry as well. That's why our government is delivering the Thrive 2030 strategy, and I can't wait to talk about that more today.
Thank you very much. And thank you for that very good, concrete example. I think that helps a lot with our audience here to understand how they can put these practices into actual work. Great. I'm going to turn now to ATTA and Gustavo Timo for your remarks. Thanks.
Thank you, Marjorie. It's a great honor to be here. I would like to thank our hosts, Jata and the TEJ organizers and UN Tourism. Thank you very much. For decades, global tourism has been defined by what we call the 3 S's, or sun, sea, and sand, or the equivalent mass tourism model for main destination hubs. This model created growth, but it also concentrated visitors in a few hotspots, put pressure on the environment, and often left communities outside the main centers without much benefit. Today, we are witnessing a very important evolution from the 3 S's to the 3 D's, which is diversification, expanding beyond beaches and resorts into nature, culture, and adventure. Dispersion, which is making sure visitors reach secondary cities, rural areas, and emerging regions. And deepening of experiences, designing experiences that truly connect travelers with communities and ecosystems. And this is not only happening on the supply side. We are really seeing this from the traveler behavior. ATTA's latest global market sizing of the adventure travel market shows this transformation clearly. Nearly 2/3 of travelers now, what we are calling open to adventure, prioritize nature and cultural experiences. And they are willing to spend more, on average 20 to 30% more per trip, because they want authenticity, sustainability, and depth of experiences. This is a resilient market segment, one that is growing steadily after the pandemic, particularly among younger generation and a higher spending traveler. But diversification is not just about adding new products. It's about making tourism a force for good. It's about advancing climate action, protecting and elevating culture, and ensuring inclusive economic growth where women, youth, and entrepreneurs, especially the small and medium enterprises, benefit directly. We've seen this in our work around the world. Cape Verde, a nation island in the west of Africa, moving to tourism in only 2 islands to spread tourism around other areas, developing a trail system. Fiji, from 1 island tourism concentration to diversifying in adventure alternatives in ecotourism focused products as well as in Jordan, when a single Jordan Trail became a symbol of how product diversification can benefit and change rural economies. And here in Japan, we also have amazing examples that are in progress and that has been really inspiring. In Hokkaido, the work is underway to showcase pristine nature, a 4-season adventure travel destination, and the Ainu culture, much beyond skiing. In Okinawa, our partners are reframing the islands, not just as beach resort, but also as a hub for marine conservation, wellness, and cultural immersion. And in Tohoku, which we were just in the beginning of the week, we are gathering, we see how a region once lesser known is now becoming an authentic, community-centered adventure destinations. This is diversification in dispersion in action. For ATTA, This is what regional transformation means, moving from a model based on volume to one based on value, where the ultimate measure of success is not just visitor numbers, but community well-being, resiliency, and long-term sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that we can say fairly clearly that the adventurers are the folks who started us on the sustainability track, recognizing nature and the need to preserve it. And it's great to hear what you're doing, especially here in Japan. There's a lot of advances there. Thank you. Good. All right. Now we're going to go to Central and South America, and we're so glad to have two representatives here from the region. And we'll start first with Panama and Her Excellency Ms. León Zubieta.
Excellencies, distinguished ministers, vice ministers, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to address you on behalf of the member states of the Central American Integration System within the framework of this valuable ministerial meeting under the theme Transforming Regional Tourism in a Changing World. Our region, comprising Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, and Panama, has understood that sustainable tourism is not an option, but a necessity to ensure the economic, environmental, and social resilience of our countries. Through the Central American Tourism Council, we recognize that destination diversification is not just a strategy, but a necessity to guarantee the sustainability of tourism and its contribution to the economic and social development of our nations. Our region is diverse by nature, millennial cultures, living communities, unique gastronomy, and landscapes of incomparable richness. This authenticity is the foundation of our competitiveness. However, we understand that diversifying destination also means diversifying benefits, ensuring that local communities, women, youth, and micro, small, and medium enterprises are protagonists of the tourism offer and receive fair and stable incomes. As the pro tempore presidency of the Central American Tourism Council, we promote the Regional Tourism Policy 2025-2035 as a shared action framework that turns diversity into strength, allowing us to project to the world an integrated, resilient, and sustainable region where each country preserves its identity while collectivity creating a more attractive and competitive regional offer. Over the next decade, we envision a regional push for the diversification of sustainable, accessible, resilient, and competitive tourism products, services, and business models based on regional potential and priority market niche, such as social and accessible tourism, while valuing natural and cultural capital. Therefore, we reaffirm our commitment to work together to achieve tourism that serves as a driver of sustainable development, a promoter of peace, and a generator of well-being of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we'll all be watching the development over the next 10 years of your regional collaboration. It sounds excellent. Now turning to Uruguay and Your Excellency, Ms. Claudia, Ana Claudia Caram.
Hola. It is an honor to present Uruguay, a nation with its own identity in the heart of South America, located between Argentina and Brazil, with shores along the Atlantic Ocean. We are recognized for the hospitality of our people, the authenticity of our tradition, and the remarkable culture and the natural wealth that continues to surprise those who visit us. From the Ministry of Tourism, we are committed to strengthen of our tourist region, highlighting what makes them unique: local identity, gastronomy, traditional dishes, festivals, and at the same time, the preservation of both natural and cultural heritage. Uruguay advocates sustainable tourism. Along our South Atlantic coast, visitors can observe whales, dolphins, and seabirds just a few meters from the shore. An inspiring experience that reflects our commitment to conservation. We also invite travelers to discover our fishing villages, where daily coastal life can be felt and the freshness of seafood can be enjoyed at its best. As we move forward in diversifying destination, we place special emphasis on respecting the social cultural authenticity and traditional values of each community, while recognizing their diverse strengths and potential. Our goal is to ensure long-term economic growth that generates tangible social economic benefits for all stakeholders, including the employment and income opportunities. Our objectives are clear: to consolidate a tourism sector that is sustainable, responsible, and inclusive, one that preserves heritage, values local communities, and offer authentic and unforgettable experience. We firmly believe that international cooperation is key to advancing further, and for this reason, today we seek to build bridges with Japan and with the world, sharing a common vision of respect for nature, innovation, and hospitality. Uruguay invites you to discover a country that is diverse, authentic, and sustainable. We will be glad to welcome you.
Thank you. Yes. I think a key word there is authenticity, and you really emphasize that in your speech. So that's another key point that we all want to be looking at as we explore destination diversification. Now we are to our final speaker, representing our host country, Japan. I'll invite Mr. Akira Yoshii to make his remarks. Thank you.
皆さん、こんにちは。
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished ministers and representatives of international institutions. Welcome to Japan. On behalf of Japan, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome. And it is indeed the great pleasure to welcome all of you at the Tourism Expo Japan and the Ministerial Roundtable. And Japan hosted Osaka Kansai Expo, and many visitors enjoy Expo. And I would like to extend my appreciation for contribution and cooperation of all of those who are present here. Japan had a record high of the foreign tourism in Japan in 2024. And however, they are considering 3 big tourist spots. And also, depending on the region and also the schedule, we have the over-tourism issues such as excessive congestions and improper manners. However, we like to address those issues and promote the sustainable tourism. And we established a DMO, which will direct the destination development and reinvigorate the local areas. For example, in Old City in the Ehime Prefecture, DMO plays a very important role to put together the local communities and industries to offer the various products, such as high value-added products to enter the old castles, and also the building the towns, making use of the old houses. Through such activities, we would like to invite the tourists to the rural areas and spread the benefit to local communities. In order to realize the sustainable tourism, it is important to strike a balance between accepting the tourists and also the preserving the quality of life of the local residents. And the Japan Tourism Agency takes the following measures, such as the introduction of the transportation to the tourists and leveling the demand, and also the notifying the manners and the rules to the tourists. For example, in Kyoto City, we have the tourist express bus connecting Kyoto Station and major tourist spots, and also digital map to confirm the congestion on a real-time basis and put up the digital signage. And it is important to invite the visitors to the local communities in order to realize sustainable development. We would like to collaborate with each local communities and share best practices. In closing, I would like to collaborate with our colleagues in each countries and promote the sustainable tourism. Thank you very much.
I think we really appreciate the concrete example of Kyoto and Kiyomizu and how you are managing that over-tourism, which could have become a terrible problem, and you're really managing it well now. Thank you for that. Okay, we have time for a couple of questions, and we're going to go through these pretty quickly because I know we want to get to the second topic as well. We talked about regional collaboration, especially under the leadership of SICA and Panama. I'm wondering on the European side, Miguel, do you have any specific examples in Europe where you can say destination diversification is working across several countries together collaborating?
Well, unfortunately, there's not one-size-fits-all solution.
Sure.
So, but the job of the European Travel Commission from the very beginning is based on cooperation. Mm-hmm. So that would be my advice, not only to our colleagues in Central America, but in general. We're very lucky in Europe to have great diversity of destinations within a relatively small territory, which might be your similar situation. Yeah. So just fostering cooperation. Sitting people around the same table like we're doing here and address common challenges. It's not always easy. It requires a lot of time and diplomacy. Yeah. My job title is head of marketing, but sometimes I really feel like a diplomat. It's not easy. You can imagine that 35 countries agree on something, so you really need to be patient and insist, but really see that we are not really competitors, that we're all together on this. Nobody's going to solve these issues on their own. So really leave your differences aside and just cooperate with each other.
That's excellent. Yes. Friendly competitors who can work together for a broader goal. That's very good. How about in Uzbekistan? Do you have, I know you have the Silk Road, which you're collaborating with a few other countries, I believe. How does all of that work for you? Yes.
Well, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, yes, I think it's very important to provide to our guests and visitors a unique experience. Mm-hmm. And before, Uzbekistan was focused only on the cultural and historical tourism, but now we are investing a lot to develop infrastructure in the mountain areas, in some desert areas, and provide to our possible guests something new, something specific. And especially I would like to bring your attention to so-called family tourism or ethnotourism. Now we are promoting among our villages, which are located quite far from industrial centers, new products. It's family guest houses. Mm-hmm. And it means visitors can spend a couple of days in such family guest houses and learn more about our national culture, about customs, about national cuisine, even participate in some agricultural works. And I can say it's very nice because such places sometimes lack of infrastructure, but using these instruments, family guest houses, we can provide new job places, new income for locals, and in general, I can say it's a very nice example of sustainable tourism, green tourism. And historically, I can say Uzbek people was a very, ecological nation. Even if you make some and look through our national, for example, ornaments or carpets, you can find a lot of patterns of nature. And when guests comes and just spend some time in rooms which decorated in national traditions, I think it's a really unique experience.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. In Peter's remarks, he talked about meaningful tourism and mentioned that several strategies include developing deep respect for the local communities, authenticity, which we've spoken about, empowering the local communities, and fostering regional development. Are there other examples throughout Asia that you would want to bring up, Peter?
Yeah, I think, Marjorie, in the limited time that I have, I wanted to mention a really fantastic collaboration that exists between the Mekong countries. It's called the Greater Mekong Sub-Region, and it's 6 countries. It's 2 provinces in China. It's Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, and Thailand. And it's exceptional, the work that they've done over the last 30 years, and the Honorable Minister from Cambodia would know. But there's a lot of work that's gone, not only in terms of collaborative marketing, but really in terms of working out the difficulties of moving people across borders. So you not only have visa issues, but in many cases you have issues where vehicles from one country are not able to cross the border to another country. So there's a lot of collaboration and coordination that has to happen between all these countries. And I think the other thing that we've learned is consistency in product, and also trying to identify new opportunities for multi-country routes, which is not always easy. And that obviously leads to being able to work with local communities, being able to, in many cases, introduce people to tourism. A lot of the places in the Greater Mekong sub-region, they've never really had a visitor economy. And so a lot of times we're working from a very basic level, developing an understanding of tourism and really introducing them to both the benefits and the risks of tourism.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, yes. Thank you. How about in Slovenia, in terms of meaningful tourism? You spoke a little bit in your remarks, but the country that has love in its name, how do you make it as meaningful as possible to your stakeholders?
Well, we need to work tete-a-tete with every single stakeholders, because we really have mostly smaller providers. Yes. But I think this is for us a good side of the story. Because they can really do the local storytelling, and they can tell the authentic stories and develop the authentic products. And we are more focused on people in country than on heritage, though heritage is very important for us. But of course, it is difficult to compete with Mona Lisa in Paris or with Pisa Tower or Colosseum, Parthenon, you just name it, in Europe only, not to talk about the whole world. So I think the main asset of our country, of course, nature and heritage, but also people. And when we show how we live, I think this is the biggest competitive asset of our country.
That's excellent, and leads us right into our next topic, that it really is about people. We're going to be moving to our second session, and we'll be inviting our panelists to talk about either the investments that they are making in human resource development and education, or on the subject of innovation through digital transformation. So we'll start first on the human resource side, and I'm going to turn to Panama again for your remarks on that.
Tourism depends on its people. Therefore, the greatest capital we have in our region is our human talent. Investing in tourism education and training not only strengthens the sector, but also opens opportunities for employment, innovation, and social mobility. Through the Central America Tourism Council, we highlight that investing in people is investing in the future. Moreover, our regional tourism policy, under its first axis, commits to coordinating public, private, and international cooperation efforts to ensure that every destination has professionals capable of leading a high-quality tourism offer. Only in this way can we achieve competitive, inclusive, and resilient tourism that contributes tangibly to the Sustainable Development Goals. We also rely on the network of rural women in the tourism sector as a vital space for dialogue and the exchange of experiences that promotes gender equality, human rights, and economic autonomy in tourism, particularly benefiting rural women who sustain much of the community tourism fabric in our countries. Finally, it is important to highlight our efforts to strengthen the regional value chain in the sector through the creation of innovative products with a focus on social tourism and our 6 quality seal, which provides useful guidance to tourism entrepreneurs for the management and delivery of tourism services. Thank you.
Thank you. So you actually have a certification process that your new businesses can follow in order to develop their staff. That's excellent. Thank you. How about in Uzbekistan, Minister?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. For Uzbekistan, investment in human capital and digital transformation of tourism are two connected parts of sustainable development. We believe that without well-trained professionals and new technologies, it is impossible to keep tourism competitive for a long time. Today, about 400,000 people work in tourism in our country. By 2030, we want tourism to give 5% of GDP. To reach these goals, we need not only new routes and infrastructure, but also new knowledge, skills, and digital tools. In recent years, Uzbekistan has made strong progress in training specialists. In Samarkand, as you know, the Silk Road International University of Tourism and Cultural Heritage gives education to about 1,000 local and 200 foreigner students. And in 2022, thanks to UN Tourism, on the base of this university, we also established the UN Tourism Academy, the platform in Central Asia for training and international exchange. And for us, this is an important bridge to global professional network. The country also has 14 regional tourism colleges which prepares guides, managers, and hotel staff. And a special focus is given to youth and women. Thanks to training programs, thousands of young people already work in tourism, and women especially in regions. We see human resource training not only as a tool for jobs, but also a way to keep our cultural heritage alive. Students learn not only hotel service and management, but also traditions, craft, arts, which makes Uzbekistan unique. At the same time, we are working on digital transformation of tourism. We created the national internet portal, Uzbekistan Travel, with a large media bank with millions of excellent photos, videos, and many other materials. Special attention is given to digital skills. The national program, 1 million Uzbek coders, has trained more than 2.5 million young people. And these skills helps directly in tourism, in digital marketing, online booking, and promotion of services. And new technologies also help local communities. We promote online platform for artisans, multimedia tours of World Heritage sites, and digital products that brings regions to the global market. Together with our neighbors, we are promoting a single Silk Road brand through the initiative One Tour, the whole region, which lets visitors explore several countries with one trip and easier visa rules. We're also developing a golden ring of Fergana Valley route, which connects mountains, lakes, and historical sites of Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. In this context, Uzbekistan supports major events such as the Tashkent International Tourism Fair. And using this opportunity, I would like to invite all participants of today's meeting to this largest tourism fair in Central Asia. And it will be conducted, take place in Tashkent on 27th, 29th November. And again, we warmly invite you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. That regional collaboration that you have going now in Central Asia is something to watch, I think. It's definitely, you are emerging as one of the places people want to go these days, so congratulations on that. Next, I want to turn over to the WTTC, to Sarah. I know that human resource development is key to your initiatives there. Can you tell us a bit more about what you're doing?
Thank you, Marjorie. We believe investment in the human resource development and education is absolutely critical for the long-term growth of our sector. Actually, across the world, we are facing a workforce shortage in tourism, particularly after the pandemic and when many talented people left the sector. So actually, in 2022, right after the pandemic, WTTC, we launched a report on the staff shortage to analyze the situation that we were facing. And this year, we started a deeper research called The Future of Work. And actually, it will be launched in a few days at our summit, and to take a deeper view to see the landscape of global workforce and the challenges, and also giving suggestions that to be taken by the business and the government. We believe that is very critical for our long-term development. We also believe that the approach to investment must be comprehensive, not only about capital or training, but also about building a positive and supportive ecosystem that can nurture the development of our people. And first of all, I really want to share here about the role of our local community. Last year, we launched a report entitled Supporting the Global Indigenous Tourism report, highlight the vital role of the indigenous tourism in terms of cultural preservation, economic empowerment, and sustainable development. But what's more is our hosts, these people, they're not only part of the workforce of tourism, providing service, but they are the host of the authentic travel experience that have been highlighted by a few ministers here. So visitors do not come only for hotels and attractions, but they are coming to connect people and culture. And so we have been, getting together all the best practices across the world on how we can help the indigenous community to develop their program. And so we have seen that, for example, the Canada's original program is a very good case that they can certify these authentic tourism business that owned by the indigenous people. And also that help tourists to identify those authentic experience. So we believe these approach, they are not helping the development tourism, but actually they're helping the growing of the workforce that by our local people. And also, secondly, very important, we think we must bring our younger generation into our sector, because our future depending on attracting and retaining this group of people. Too often that when people think of career in our industry, they imagine limited options such as a tour guide or working in a hotel. But in reality, our sector offers a wide range diversity of roles, from digital marketing to aviation technology, from sustainability management to event design, etc. So I think we do have a lot of work to do to advocate strongly to the young people, to let them to see the opportunity and feel confident in choosing the travel and tourism as a career. But this also requires close collaboration with the university and training institutions to design adapted program that equips students with the skill and knowledge our industry will need in the future. But thirdly, I think we all talk about the impact of technology, the impact of AI. And last month in our members' call, we had our member Japan Airlines share their inspiring journey of integrating AI into their workforce. We think they have a really brilliant case, shared that they set out phased strategy to achieve their vision of becoming an AI-empowered company. And this is also particular relevant to Japan that facing demographic declines, with the working age population expected to halve by 2070, and nearly 40% of citizens age over 65. So AI has become a crucial role. But what impressed me most was Japan Airlines' philosophy that AI is not replacing human worker, but they're enabling new forms of collaboration. So they're empowering people so they can do more with less workforce. But we are living in a time of rapid change, not only in travel and tourism, but across the economic and societies. If we want our tourism to retain as a driver of growth, and opportunity and cultural preservation, the only way we can do is to build a workforce that is resilient, inclusive, and future ready. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I've been hearing, yes. We heard a lot of discussion about empowering women to build the workforce, educating the younger generation, and now I think the case on AI is quite interesting to see how that will actually be AI-empowered, not AI-led, which I know many young people today are a bit concerned about where their jobs will go, even if they take it. So it'll be interesting to learn more about the Japan Airlines case. How about, Miguel, in the case of Europe overall, how are you working on human resource development?
Yes. Actually, I would like to mirror a bit the words from our colleagues from WTTC.
Yeah.
But the pandemic indeed revealed a key vulnerability of Europe's tourism industry, which is a strong reliance on skills and a solid workforce. And current challenges across the continent, like labor shortages and skill gaps, AI is just one of those topics, we feel is really limiting our sector. So to build a resilient and sustainable tourism industry, we believe that destinations must invest in people, prioritize education, skills development, and job attractiveness. The ETC is already laying the groundwork for the next generation of tourism professionals. We are focused on empowering the human engine of our industry, especially as we navigate the sustainable and digital transition. This is why we have launched a pioneering initiative together with the University of Surrey, a series of children's books that spotlight the value of tourism careers. This project is grounded on research on the transferable skills in tourism. Our research found that tourism is often perceived as low-paid, demanding, and stressful, discouraging many young people from considering a career in the sector. At the same time, this research also revealed that tourism strengths, such as foster communication, teamwork, problem-solving, or customer service, are very valuable skills that can be used across many different professions, making tourism not just a job, but a training ground for your entire professional life. With this insight, we have launched a project, a series of books for children aged 5 to 12 years old, that introduces them to the skills and opportunities that comes with working in tourism. There are actually 2 series of books tailored to different ages, both following characters in tourism roles. 2 titles in each series have already been published and are available in libraries and schools, with more currently under development. The series of books were initially published in English, but we're already working with our members to make them available in other languages and expand their reach. And actually, we'd like to invite other countries outside of Europe to join us on this effort and bring these stories to your markets as well. We believe that by creating pride in working in tourism from an early age, we are laying the foundation for tomorrow's tourism professionals and hope to influence future career choices, reduce labor shortages, and build a more sustainable and people-powered industry. Thank you.
Thank you. Books for children to learn about how to be in the tourism industry. What a brilliant concept. I hope you'll share with us where we can see copies of those, and certainly that would be wonderful to share with Japanese children in their schools to start understanding and appreciating what a tourism career can be. That's a great idea. Thank you. Good. How about on the adventure travel side? Do you have some suggestions? I know you're probably at the forefront of training people because you had to from very early on, but yes. Tell us what you're doing today.
Right. Thank you, Marjorie. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say human resources formation is probably the biggest challenge we have if you want to connect the dots with regional diversification. And the question is how to train the front lines that are receiving right now the growth of travelers' demand, especially in rural and wilderness areas. And then we are specifically talking about small and medium enterprises. So we're talking about companies that have less than 10 employees in average. And of course, there are adventure travel guides, but it's a lot of entrepreneurs and managers and frontline workers, but also back-end logistics, all of that. And then we're talking about tour operators, activity providers, small lodges, small restaurants. So it's really how we create education systems and education models that meet the demand where they are, which in many cases will not be what standard education frameworks and standard education models will be able to accomplish. So the experiences that we have with trying to do that and supporting destinations is really in hybrid education models, so using online tools, virtual sessions, and in-person formation, and really bringing practice, so practitioners, so the exchange, the regional exchange we have been talking about, bringing guides or tour operators from other regions to share their experiences. We've done this a lot in Japan. Actually, there's going to be another training in Hokkaido in November, probably a third or fourth cycle of training guides, adventure travel guides in Japan. So it's really meeting the demand where they are and focusing on how small and medium companies that are already facing the challenges of and the pressure of becoming, they are market ready, but they need to be export ready. And so that's really a challenge. And then how do you bring global practices, but and can train the workforce on that, but respecting authenticity and localization of cultures and the specificities of each region. So it's I think it's the biggest challenge we all face as the industry sector.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you for that. And I like the idea of sharing, bringing people who have been successfully trained from one area and bring them to another to help educate their peers. That's a great idea. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our final topic of today, and that is digital transformation. And I'd like to turn that back over to our host country, Japan, to talk a bit about what we're doing here in this country. Ishii-san.
Thank you very much. So, in Japan, for the regional revitalization and for the sustainable tourism development, DX in the tourism area is promoted heavily in Japan, improving the convenience of the operator and also higher quality of the tourism management and also improvement of the productivity of the tourism industry. These are the major items which we are taking into consideration in doing the DX. To be more specific, convenience of the tourist must be promoted. In Kanagawa, Hakone, we have an example of giving good experiences for the tourists by having a DX. For instance, real-time monitoring of the congestion of the car is now possible for the convenience for the tourists. And also, avoiding the traffic jam, new route will be introduced to the people. So the standardizing of the traffic flow is one of the things that we are doing by DX. And also, in Yamagata Prefecture, in the city of Sakata, we have the data management system or the management platform example from this region. So this digital platform will have such data as the number of the people in one accommodation or any data coming from the tourism spots. So this is the centralized management of the data concerning the tourism. So using this kind of data, the spending of the tourists and number of the people staying overnight and also the satisfaction level of each of the tourists are monitored as a data so that the management of the tourism spots can be better and more efficient. And also for the better productivity of the tourism spot, we have this example from the Fukui Prefecture using the digital platform. The unit price of the accommodation and the number of people staying in one accommodation, and also the preparation of the necessary number of staff for each of the accommodation, those are managed by DX. So, by promoting these activities, region-to-region data allocation will lead us to the maximization of the profit for each region so that we can make our society more sustainable in terms of the tourism.
How about in Australia?
Well, thank you. The integration of digital innovation is redefining the future of tourism. I think we can all agree on that. And these advancements are not only transforming how tourism services are delivered and experienced, but also opening new avenues for economic growth, sustainable development, and social inclusion. I think when we think about AI and the challenges it presents, it can be very concerning to talk about digital transformation. But one of the benefits with tourism is it is all about experiences and personal experiences. We just launched yesterday our Come and Say G'day campaign, which is all centered around the experience that is irreplaceable. And so we look at digital transformation as a way to improve industry capability and create competitive, resilient, and sustainable businesses that deliver high-quality products and services to consumers who are looking for that unforgettable experience. This is a key priority for Australia's long-term strategy, And we're doing this in a number of ways. It includes, as my colleague at the end of the table there, providing online training for operators. We're looking at different ways to use data. And we're also assisting businesses to provide them and get them online ready and provide more content on social media. The Australian government is investing in innovative measures to provide industry and businesses with timely data and research to analyse and make informed decisions. And one way we're doing this is by delivering what we call the longitude indicators of the visitor economy, or our LIVE framework. The LIVE framework and indicators aim to provide a more complete picture regarding sustainable development of the visitor economy. It does this by measuring and reporting on social, environmental and institutional factors alongside the more traditional economic considerations. And why would we want to do that? Well, it gives us a good indication of some of the things beyond normal economic metrics that visitors are interested in, what they're doing when they arrive, and some of the ways that we can harness better experiences for our visitors. We also know that the pandemic accelerated the adoption of online shopping and online travel bookings. Tourism Australia, our tourism body, monitors the impact of digital changes on the distribution of tourism operators. And there has been a notable shift among those bookings, particularly to online experiences as opposed to booking directly with travel agents. So what we're doing is working with our tourism industry and operators to ensure that they are ready for this change. We know that investment by those involved in distribution chain to be digital ready is paramount. And developing a user-friendly interface, rich content, mobile-optimized platforms, and data analytics align strongly with heightened consumer expectations. One example of being digital ready and using AI to benefit our industry is looking at the distribution space, where customers need for personalization of their itinerary, and platforms are incorporating AI to allow customers to create bespoke itineraries as a practical example. Yeah. The Australian government is committed to ensuring that we are ready to support the digital transformation and harness its potential, especially within the tourism industry.
Great. Thank you very much. Yes. Extremely helpful, very practical advice there. That's great. How about in Uruguay, Vice Minister?
First, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah. It's very important for Uruguay, a little country in South America, stay here with a very important country in all the world. My country, Uruguay, is a lot of better than my English, okay? I go to see some words. I hope that you understand.
We do.
The Minister of Tourism is currently developing, in cooperation with the Inter-American Development Bank, the Technical Assistance Project Innovation and Development Tourism 4.0 in Uruguay. This initiative will generate knowledge and a roadmap to promote digital transformation in the country's tourism sector, which we believe will contribute to strengthen Uruguay competitiveness as a tourist destination. This project has two specific objectives. One, to develop a national strategy and scalable instruments to increase the digital maturity of the tourism sector in Uruguay. And the second objective is to implement a pilot plan in a specific destination, generating knowledge on how the tourism sector, both public and private, interacts with the ecosystem of digital solutions that can support improved tourism management. This national strategy, to be formally presented in October, will propose action along 5 pillars. 1, digital governance and coordination. 2, technological adoption in business and destination. 3, tourism data and intelligence. 4, visitor digital experience. 5, sustainability and responsible innovation. Building on this stage, a pilot experience will be developed in La Valleja, is a city, an emerging year-round tourist destination with a focus on rural tourism and the hill country. La Valleja is currently in the final stage of being declared UNESCO Global Geopark. This pilot experience will make it possible to analyze the feasibility of geographical limited digital, technological, and innovation solutions that could later be scaled to the other destinations in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, yes. So really starting with a pilot program and using that as a guide for further digital transformation. That's an excellent idea. How about in Slovenia?
Thank you very much. So I guess we all agree in this room that sustainability is not a maybe anymore, but it's a must.
It's a must.
Of course, if you don't measure, you cannot manage. Yes. That's why we started 15 years ago with so-called Green Scheme of Slovenian Tourism, with certification of providers and destinations. Of course, because of the Slovenian DNA, we could not develop our own certificates because they would say, oh, our government just imagined something, we don't want to follow that. So we implemented international certificates and the system worked, but it's not enough. So that's why we started the phase 1 of digital transformation, and we made actually an upgrade of Green Scheme of Slovenian Tourism to accelerate the green and digital transition and upgrade the scheme. And that's now, it was launched in June, and it's a really great digital analytical tool, because Slovenia is one of the most measured country in the world. We have around 270 different databases, but if you ask me, those are more or less data silos who are gathering information, but only few people use it.
Yeah.
And then we have another problem, because tourism, it's integrated in all segments of our lives. So we understand that if we collect the data from other sectors, it could be very useful for the tourism. That's why we implemented this digital analytic tool to measure effects of tourism on the environment and society, and also to analyze and forecast tourism flows, which is very important because we really don't want to have hotspots or even over-tourism. And of course, from the point of view of destination management, we need data-driven decision-making. And this is much easier now since June, when we have this National Intelligence Hub for Tourism, as we call it. It has 60 indicators, 30 use cases, and 70 visualizations. Wow. So the providers and destination can really use this system. But that's not all. Our government just bought a supercomputer. It's around 150 million euro investment in a computer who will support AI, big data, augmented and virtual reality. So now we are in a phase to make story out of data. So thank you.
Wow. I think we're envious of the work that you're doing to bring all of that data together and analyze it. Wow, that's exciting. Thank you. Peter, over to you, and looking at Asia Pacific overall on digital transformation.
Yeah, I think what I want to highlight with Asia Pacific, and I think it's a really important point for everyone to recognize, is that we're at such varying levels of development of digital literacy and digital development. We have destinations that you can barely access the internet. And then we have other destinations like China, for example, where the visitor has a hard time even using the digital technology because it's totally different than anything that we're used to. What PATA is doing is that we're working with, for example, our member Visa to really make sure that we can narrow the digital divide, or shall I say, reduce the risk of a huge divide of people that have access to internet, people that have access to technology, and people that don't. With Visa, we've developed a number of training programs for micro and small enterprises where we're teaching small organizations to tell their stories on Facebook, for example, to be able to accept digital payments, and really to be able to start to take advantage of what digitalization brings in terms of access to market. So I think the other thing that we're trying very much to do is take good practice from places like China. When I go to China, I always talk about how so much of their digital know-how could be used in other parts of Asia and Pacific. Capacity management of attractions. The Chinese they've dealt with 1.4 billion of their people traveling around China to all of their destinations. They know how to do capacity management. They know how to use that technology. So again, how do we take good practice from more developed economies, tourism economies, and then try to bring that to destinations that are not quite there? I think it's a big challenge, and I think that if we're not conscientious of that, there's too many divides in this world. There's economic divides, and I think this digitalization has the potential to create another enormous divide. And I think that's where PATA is really trying to focus its efforts right now. Again, collaborating with great organizations like Visa and other international organizations, multinationals, that see that that's really important for social responsibility and for responsible development of tourism. Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you. Those are really encouraging action items that you're putting into place. Thank you for that. Our final remarks from Dr. Rilo. Tell us about ASEAN.
Thanks, Marjorie. I think for ASEAN, the same situation applies. I think the digital transformation of the tourism sector is an important priority. And this is very much evident in a number of initiatives that the region has implemented over the years, including, for example, the development of a framework for sustainable development, as well as that action roadmap that contains different measures by which the region should be able to take advantage of digital technologies to make sure that we are able to promote a more enhanced travel experience among the tourists, enhance the competitiveness of the sector, and at the same time make sure that the tourism sector is able to create an inclusive and sustainable development for the region. I think, but what's more important here is that not only the opportunities that the digitalization of the tourism sector can present. For me, it is about how the region is able to address a number of constraints that would allow this digital transformation of tourism to be fully materialized. And I think within the region, if you look at ASEAN, there are three important constraints that I think need to be fully addressed in order for this digital transformation of the tourism sector to become successful. One issue is about digital divide. I think Peter has mentioned that. I think digital divide is an issue of how we can provide tourist operators, particularly in the rural areas, to be able to gain access to digital connectivity as well as infrastructure. Part of the discussion about digital divide is also the issue of upskilling and reskilling, right? I think to be able to leverage on these digital technologies, people should be able to have the skills needed. Otherwise, no matter how sophisticated the technologies are, I don't think the digital transformation will happen. The second constraint here, and another challenge for the region, is how to address issues related to cybersecurity, right? We have to recognize that the tourists and all the visitors and also the tourist operators, they are all subject to cyber threats. And that would undermine the ability of the region to create a more unified tourism environment. Therefore, I think every country should be able to look at this issue of cybersecurity. Finally, I think it is also an issue related to interoperability, right? How do we create standards? How do we make sure that regulations are in place so that these cross-border digital payments, for example, issues related to e-visas and even integrated digital platforms that are very critical when we talk about cross-border tourism are in place. Otherwise, again, without these existing frameworks being strengthened, digital transformation will only become a buzzword, right? But to make sure that this digital transformation of the tourism sector really happens and really works, we have to make sure that countries are ready to address all these three important constraints that I've just mentioned. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. Cybersecurity, that wasn't a topic on our list, but I think it's one we do all need to be aware of. Yes, thank you for raising that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our 8th TEJ Ministerial Roundtable. Please join me in giving a huge round of applause to our panelists. Thank you all very, very much. I think the insights today were extremely valuable, and I hope that they will be of use to our Japanese colleagues in the audience and who will be watching us as they look at regional diversification and transformation here in Japan, but also to help others around the world. This was a great, great panel to have today, and I thank you very much for joining us today. So to close out today, we'd like to go back to our friends at UN Tourism and invite Mr. Kaneko to make closing remarks.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Marjorie.
Yes.
On behalf of UN Tourism, as a collaborating organization for this roundtable, I'd like to deliver the closing remarks. All the ministers and delegates and all the participants, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for active participation and great contribution to the discussion, to the meeting. Today, we picked up the keyword of transformation, focusing on the region's tourism measures. We discussed the transformation of destinations, diversifications, and the transformation of human resources development and the digital technology in tourism sectors. To maintain sustainable and attractive tourism, it is essential to continue to offer diverse destinations and tourism resources while preserving identity and competitiveness of each destination. Leveling out demand across the seasons and locations is also a key objective that destination diversification should achieve. To maintain sustainable, high-quality tourism, we must overcome a well-trained, educated labor shortage problem toward the future. The development of human resources and the introduction of digital technologies are complementary measures for overcoming this problem. This complementary collaboration definitely works for the qualitative improvement of tourism services as well in various ways. This is a very short summary of my personal understanding. It is very gratifying that all the participants were able to exchange information on initiatives regarding these important issues. I hope today's discussion will greatly contribute to each of your future endeavors. To conclude my remarks, I'd like to mention that the Tourism Expo Japan 2026 and the next roundtable will be held next year in Tokyo. Yes. I look forward to seeing you all next year in Tokyo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaneko-san. Yes, so he's made a big announcement for us, but we still have 3 more days here in Nagoya at Tourism Expo. And I wish you all a wonderful expo. I hope you get as much out of it as you're wanting to. I know I was on the floor earlier today, and there was a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz from people that we don't ordinarily meet with. So that's really exciting, and we wish you all a great couple more days. One final round of applause to this great panel. Thank you all. Please stay seated. We'll have a photo session now, and for the media in the room, that's what's coming up, but we'll ask the panel to stay seated until they get that all set up. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Marjorie. Thank you very much. 第8回 TEJ 観光大臣
This concludes the TEJ Ministerial meeting, roundtable meeting. The photo session is going to take place.
Preparations for the photo session on stage. So we may kindly ask all the speakers to step down from the stage for a moment. Thank you very much for your cooperation.